Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome to another FPP Live. We have an awesome guest tonight, a friend of mine, and overall amazing, iconic person. And I'm going to fix my hair in the meantime. Hey, Celeste. And Jess is here. Exactly, FPP Live Day. Where are you? Hi.
Hey,
How are
hi.
you?
I am good. It's been a long time. I feel like it's been a long time, but it like also hasn't. But
I
like,
right?
yeah.
It's weird. It's funny. For those who don't know, Jess and I got to be friends IRL for like 2 months or something tragically short like that. But
Yes, yes. And then, but you're right up the road, not too far away.
right, exactly, exactly. Well, thank you so much for making time. We're really grateful and glad you're here. And for everyone tuning in, which is quite a few people. Hi, everybody. Hi, new friends. Um,
Yes,
We do free arts programming for queer youth, which I feel like is super aligned with your mission, Jess,
yes,
of
absolutely.
just like being unapologetically gay AF in all ways. And so the way we check in at our workshops is the way we check in here. I'll go first as an example, and then I'll pass it on to you.
Okay, cute.
So, very cute. So, I'm Emma, and she's feeling reunited, and it feels so good. In
Yes.
Brooklyn, New York. So basically name, pronoun, how you're feeling, where you are.
Okay, perfect. My name is Jess Guilbeaux. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And I am in Philly right now. As you may hear throughout live. And I'm feeling really exhausted. I've been really busy lately. Pride is like right around the corner. And so there's that. But I did like 20 jumping jacks before this live. So getting the blood pumping. It's too late for coffee or any kind of caffeine. So, you
That's
know, do what it is.
I love that. So Pride's right around the corner, as you said. Have you always been like super out and proud your whole life, or was there a time where you would like, you will not catch me at a Pride event?
Right. So I grew up in the Bible Belt. I grew up in Kansas. And it's hard enough to just like grow up black in Kansas, but it's also really difficult. Sorry, my phone's gonna be. Why is my phone vibrating? Anyways, we'll ignore it. But I was like, I should have turned off vibration, but we're fine. Um, anyways, it's hard enough to grow up black in Kansas, but also like for me, I was closeted and not out to anyone until I was 16, like as in the episode. And so for me, like pride wasn't even a thing until like I was I went to my first pride in Kansas when I was like 18 or something like that. I felt super out of place. I felt like I didn't belong there. And also like I don't know. It wasn't like the pride events that I've gone to recently. I think that more so has to do with me and not necessarily like what's going on. But yeah, now I'm always at Pride or celebrating Pride. Last year when we were indoors, I still celebrated party of two, me and and that's it. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't grow up out. I didn't grow up feeling comfortable going to Pride. Um, and now I'm very glad that I've like gotten to this place where it is a safe space for me, etc. So
Totally. And I see some folks have questions in the chat. Just, I think we have a Q&A feature, and that's the best way to have your questions answered. Just putting that out there.
yes.
So put your questions in the little Q&A feature. So what does pride mean to you personally now that you are out and proud and enjoying it and living your best life?
I think Pride Month, like it's changed obviously, but for me, Pride is not only about like going to parades and going to events and like partying and things like that. I think that has a place, but also I think it's really important to like recognize Pride as a time for queer people to celebrate their lives, make a living being out and being authentic. So like supporting queens, supporting queer performers and queer artists and things like that. Like it's the time to like elevate them and support them supporting themselves. And also like, I don't know, I think it's just like a complete celebration of queer life and like the LGBTQ plus community, etc. So that's what it means to me. And yes, that is partying sometimes.
Yes.
It's a celebration, and that can mean a lot of things. But for me specifically, I think what I try to do during Pride is, again, support my favorite queer artists and support my favorite people however I can. And sometimes that's physically going to shows or going to parties or, you know, crowdfunding. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. That, or, you know what I mean? Like just doing whatever it takes to continue and to continue and to support like queer people doing what they love and living their life and whatever
Yeah,
that.
I love that because so much of Pride now, unfortunately, is just the party piece. And so it's nice to remember that it's about like support for one another, not just drinking with one another. Also, like sobriety is so hard to find in queer spaces if you
Yeah.
are. So, blah, 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 blah. Um, and queer, I keep saying queer and like queerness, and you're saying it too. Is queer a word you like for yourself, or do you prefer something else?
Yes, I love the word queer. I think that it's really amazing that the community as a whole has reclaimed that term, and it brings a lot of comfort and clarity to a lot of people who are questioning their identity because it's not specific. Our lives are all so complicated and we're all coming from different places. And so I feel like to have an umbrella term that just means somewhere along the spectrum is like really helpful. And I interchange between identifying as queer and identifying as a lesbian. So, and that's what's worked best for me. And so, yeah, I really, yeah, definitely love the term queer.
Awesome. Same. Because like one thing I've learned in working with queer youth, like we think we're like ahead of the curve. Like these young people give themselves unconditional permission to change at all times, and I really admire that. So I think queer also gives you wiggle room if you anticipate changing in the future, which honestly we all probably will a little bit.
Right, exactly. And I think, yeah, it gives you that flexibility to change. And I mean, not that other terms don't necessarily, because they can as well, but I think it helps to have something, again, that's just like an umbrella term that's not as specific, that can apply to a lot of different things and situations and whatever. So
Totally. Speaking of change, you famously changed and transformed on a TV show in
yeah.
front of all of us. And that's how I first came across you before we were even friends. And I was just like so happy to have like queer woman representation in that way. And I think a really cool thing about your time on the show is like there's a creative element of it too. You almost like figure out who you are creatively and how to express yourself creatively. So I'm wondering how you came into your queerness and yourself through the show, since the show, and how you interject that into what you do, which is so many things.
Yeah, so I feel like the way that I like inject creativity into my life now is by playing. It sounds so silly, but like playing a lot of video games. That is, I don't know, that's like my playground, and I have wanted to, like, I'm studying computer science now to create video games in the future. And so the more of them that I play, the more that I'm like, ooh, I like that little thing. Like, let me save for later. And also, video games have been my escape throughout this pandemic, and also for most of my life, just in general. When I feel like I need to like take a chill pill, that's just my favorite way to do that. And then also, I've recently been consuming a lot of like written material, whether it be poetry or books or whatever, from like queer authors or Black women specifically. And I think consuming those things that are like my identities as well has made me feel first of all validated, but also made it a lot easier for me to express myself in those ways. So like I journal every day. I also like journal before like therapy sessions and things like that. And so if I'm reading a lot, it's easier, and I feel like I have the vocabulary to express how I'm feeling a lot better. So
Yes. Very like if you see it, you can be it. Like
yeah,
sometimes meeting someone or reading someone who's been through what you have, so you know what to call it.
right, exactly.
And you are that for so many people too, which I think is a beautiful thing.
Thank you. That means a lot. Yeah. Seeing is not seeing is believing, but yes, very that for me. Like, because also like I don't know, especially when I wasn't as comfortable in my identity as a queer woman, like I know that it would have made a huge change and an impact on me a lot sooner had I been consuming these materials and things like that. And so yeah, it's just been really important to me. I also like, yeah, I'm looking at my books right behind me, and it's just like, yes, that one is about race. This one is about being queer. This one's about being queer. This like, and I'm really proud of myself. That wasn't always something that I had and felt comfortable having. So, yeah.
Totally. What factors do you think helped contribute to that shift of being not only out to yourself and others, but infusing your life with queerness? Because I know a lot of people get stuck on their journey for myriad reasons.
Honestly, what made me feel more comfortable being queer, a lesbian, etc., was the drag scene. The only safe space in my town that I felt comfortable being myself in was the local drag show. Being around like a room of just queer people, like expressing themselves and being free, led me to feel comfortable doing that. And that is something that I hold really true to my heart. I love drag. I did drag. So I don't know. It just like that, like having that experience and having that place to go to every week was, I don't know. It was life changing. It was life changing. And I know that that has been the case for a lot of other people in the community. Like drag is just like a beautiful art form of expressing yourself, and is like the ultimate like safe space. I don't know, for a lot of people. So
Totally. Were you a fan first and then got into drag, or?
yes, definitely, yes. And also like I just befriended a lot of drag queens, and then from there just blossomed as well. Like I mean, it quickly it just it started with RuPaul's Drag Race, and then I started going to the drag shows and started like experiencing local drag, and then traveling to go see drag. And then what, like my friend was like, oh, you want me to put you in like drag? Do you want me to put you in makeup? And I've always loved dancing too. And so there's that, like dancing, music, and then just like being queer and expressing yourself. So
Totally.
yes.
Freedom. That's freedom.
Exactly.
What do you kind of have to say to the queer youth that are watching that are having trouble finding those spaces where they are? Or do you have any, tidbits from your experience?
Yes, I would say be patient. I would say to, hang in there. If you and also be like not be patient just and like in the sense of like just wait. Be patient with yourself, like be kind to yourself. And those things take time. Like I think that in what I recall when I was younger and in the closet, you think that like time, like do this now, like, and you see other people doing it, and you're like, why can't I be here? Like, da 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 da. But like the time, it'll happen. And
Yeah,
I think it's getting easier, like to find those spaces because there are more of them. Again, like I know that there are multiple spaces in my little small town in Kansas that have drag now. When there was just one night and not even like a queer club, like so, so like I think it's like society is changing a little bit, but also if those situations aren't changing right now, like again, just like hang in there, try to find one or two people that you can vent to and express these feelings to. Don't hold them in. And if you can't find someone like that, like write it down. Like get those emotions out if you can. Like, that's what's most important. So
That's beautiful advice. I'm wondering if you found queer gamers, because gaming is such an important place for people to go, especially in a quarantine when you can't go.
right. I watch a lot of queer streamers on Twitch, a lot of Black streamers on Twitch too. And so finding people who have like identify the same way that I do that also love video games has been another source of liberation for me, definitely. So
Yeah, it's like almost like you can type in like I'm Jewish. I could type in like Jewish gay musicians, and I could probably find like
right.
people, people, you know. So it's kind of cool the power of the internet to give you community in that way.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Even
Yeah, that has changed everything for me as well. Like, I think a lot of the ways that I found like my support system, my foundation, my chosen family have been on the internet first. And like, I don't know. I feel like definitely I think society is changing, and I know that there are some, you know, things to watch out for, and it can be really dangerous. But I also think that it's important that like queer people find each other however they can. And so yeah, the internet has been key in that for me.
yes, of
When
course. I think, you know, just as like the internet can be a dangerous place, it can also be a beautiful place like this where like someone can log on and see like two queer people talking and like
right.
thriving. Okay. Well, I don't know if I'm thriving right now. I'm having like a bizarre day, but like thriving, my inner beauty is starting.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness. We have some questions in the chat, and I really like this one. What are your current passion projects? And my follow-up question to that is, how do you stay inspired in like such a bleak time such as this? I mean, things are warming up and opening up, but it was a bleak time recently.
Right. Okay, so the first one, how do I stay, well, what are my current
Uh,
passions? Let's ask that first. So right now I am doing a lot of things. I some of which I will disclose. But the thing that I can talk about is that I am making my own little video game on the side, which is difficult. And I sometimes do not have time for it. But there's that. And then also, I am building a new computer as well. And so, like, those things have been kind of like my escape, like, but productive. Like, you have your escapes where you're not engaging with anything else in the world and your brain is off or whatever, which are very much so video games for me. But also, I have like creating a video game and then also building my computer has been like a great way for me to keep my brain active, but also like kind of tune everyone out for a second. um and so those two are like the ones that are also helpful with like school, because like I'm constantly learning, um and so there's that. I'm also thinking about, not thinking about, but I'm like in the workings of getting involved with Lesbians Who Tech, which is a
Ooh,
for lesbians in like science, technology, engineering, and math things, which is really cool. And I feel like it's also important to me because there was a time where I felt again like afraid and intimidated by those kinds of organizations, and so getting involved with them in whatever way I can is, yeah, definitely been one of my newest like passion projects, because I had like I used to be really afraid of Lesbians Who Tech, really afraid of OSTEM and like those kind, like, but now I'm like going against, I'm doing it for younger me.
totally. Which is
Yes.
a great segue to my question, which is, what do you think young you would think of you now? I was gonna say, what do us as young people think? What does young you think of you now?
I think young Jess would, if you told me that I would be doing this and, you know, speaking and you know, traveling and getting to like influence people in this way, I would have laughed, not believed you. But like, I don't know. I think young me is really proud, and I do what I do now, and I take on the things that I take on for younger Jess. That's my number one. Like, whenever I'm like doing something, like, it's fine. And also back to the other question, which was like, how do you stay passionate? And that's how I'm just like, younger me would be proud. It's hard right now, but
Yeah.
would be cheering me on. So yeah, I think younger me would be stunned, but also really happy. And yeah. I gotta stop ending my answers with yeah, but it's fine. I've forgotten how to interact and hold a conversation and fear of being inside.
Ending with yeah is better than a way I end, which is sometimes like, I don't know. And it's like, you do know. Yeah. I'd rather I don't know. You know?
Yeah, no.
Exactly. I was going to ask also about younger you. We're called the Future Perfect Project because we actually think that young people are living in the future. Like, just as someone years ago might have like thought you were like an absolute alien, strange person for being queer, but you knew in your heart you were, and later queerness become a lot more normalized. Like, was there a moment when you were younger that you were like, nobody gets me, I'm living in the future?
I thought, I don't know. And I think it also has to do with like the people that I was around when I was growing up and things like that. But I didn't find out that Black people love Paramore until I was an adult. And I'm like, but back then I was like, yeah, I'm like Black and I listen to alternative music and like da 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 da, and like no one understands me and no one's like me. In reality, there's this whole population of Black people that love alt music, and like Black people can do anything. It's not like I'm more than a stereotype, very much so that I didn't really like lean into that until I was an adult. And so that's not necessarily answering your question, but I feel like it applies.
It totally did. It's like a time where you're like, I'm the only one in the world that is this. And then you realize I'm not alone in this.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Being Black and liking Paramore. I've read a lot about that. I wonder what Haley Williams like thinks about it. I wonder if she's like, yes.
Like quote tweets and retweets people things about Black. She is amazing. Haley Williams is amazing. Don't get me started. But yes, she's aware. She is aware.
Okay, good. Yeah, I love that. And I also love that the ways you creatively express yourself are so intertwined with science and with gaming and with technology, because some people don't find themselves to be a creative person because their creation isn't like a piece of poetry or a song. And so I really admire that in you.
Yes, I'm a huge nerd. But yeah, I think that creativity isn't just like traditional arts. It can be expressed in so many different ways. So yeah.
Yeah, you're very queerly creative. Like, your creative is not typical arts class creative.
Yes.
You're hearing it.
Yes, absolutely.
How did you, like, what came first? Needing the creative outlet or a passion for STEM related things?
Like, my passion for STEM related things definitely came first. I've been building computers since I was a freshman in high school.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I think for me, like, what my phone's dying, of course. But anyways,
okay, can we like plug in for a second? Can we just break the fourth wall? Celebrities, they're just like us vibes. We're plugging in our phones. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. I think it depends. No, I'm gonna go get the charger, because if it dies, I'll be embarrassed.
Okay, don't be embarrassed. I will risk. Hey everybody, we have 5 minutes left, so if you're thinking about leaving, don't do it. So rude. Emma's commenting, OMG, haha.
Yes.
It's also a comedy show. And I love your hanging plants. I have a plant too over there.
Thank you. Okay, we're all plugged in. This is great.
Yay! Okay, good.
This is great.
We can breathe now. I was just like, I'm so glad you broke the ice on that.
Yes.
So it's cool that you were able to find creativity in a passion, because I think it's really important to be creative in general. Like, that's a big belief system of our organization, that like expressing yourself creatively is how you declare who you are, declare that perfect future,
Yeah.
declare like this is my full me, you know?
Yes, absolutely. I believe that to be true. Like once you let yourself like and embrace like the little cute quirky interests that you have, it's life changing.
What are your cute quirky interests?
Besides video games and like building computers, which like that's so strange, like not strange, but it's so like random. um Again, I like journaling. I don't think I'm necessarily, I think I have a lot more time and work and things like that before I would like write anything professionally, but I love writing a lot. Listening to music, my Spotify playlist library is infinite. It never ends. And so I love music. I can't wait till we can go to concerts again, and live shows. Drag, which isn't like quirky or whatever, but like obviously drag. I love consuming drag in all forms. I love specifically going to local shows and supporting the queer people in my community in that way. So yeah, those are a few of my interests, a few of them.
That's beautiful. Since we are the Future Perfect Project, I have to ask, what is your vision of a perfect future for yourself and for everybody? And you can start with everybody or yourself if you'd like.
My vision for a perfect future for myself is a future where I feel like I can do the things that I love, without overthinking first. I think that like I tend to like overthink and then I can't do anything afterwards. And like I've completely overthought myself into not doing it. So
Yep.
that's
Unfortunately, relatable content, relatable content.
because I feel like once I conquer that, like I can conquer anything, and I think we're definitely on the way. But I don't know, and also a place where I feel comfortable not knowing what my future is like, and just kind of like set, because I feel like there's still that part of me that like feels pressure to like have it figured out and have a specific plan and a path. Um, and to the point where sometimes when I don't have like a specific idea of how like the rest of the month or the rest of the week even is going to go, it makes me panic. And I want a perfect future for me is just a time where I can just embrace the unknown and ride this crazy life out and whatever that means, and still be happy. And I am happy, but I think that like again I give into that societal idea that you have to have like this perfect thing planned out, when in reality there's beauty in the unknown. And yeah, so that's what perfect future looks like for me.
I love that.
For everyone, I think just the same in terms of like embracing the unknown, especially with the internet, I think, and how integrated it is into our society. I think there's always this like expectation that we have to know everything and like know where it comes from and like blah, 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 blah. But again, there's like beauty in just like not always knowing why something is, but still being just as active and like either continuing that or I don't know. And then also another thing that I would like for the future for everyone is a place where we can critique each other and hold each other accountable, without going too far. And like embrace the humanity in one another. Like, yes, we have our differences, and I think that it's important to note those. But also like, yeah, again, like embrace the humanity in each other, hold each other accountable, but also like that's a human being. You know what I mean? I feel like we're in a place right now that like we're kind of not seeing that all the way. So
that's beautiful. You're the first person to say that you want your future, your perfect future is one that you don't know yet.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. And a cool thing about queer community is knowing someone will be there to catch you when you fall, I feel.
Exactly. Yeah.
And also just like a great resource for someone who doesn't feel they have that community yet is the Trevor Project. And we have the link to the Trevor Project in our bio. And it is the only 24-hour suicide prevention hotline for queer people, and you can
Wow.
chat them, you can call them, you can text them, like wherever you are, whatever means you have, that you can reach them. And so I think that's a really beautiful thing, and you're just not alone. If you're watching this and you are feeling overwhelmed and scared of your future, you're so not alone, and there's people here to help you.
Yeah, super important. I love the Trevor Project. An important resource in our community, like so huge, just like you were saying.
Totally. Well, that wraps it up, but before you go, can I tell you a really cool workshop that we're having tomorrow that you'll really appreciate?
Yes.
So, was your sex ed as whack as mine? Did you have like terrible sex ed?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So, cool. Glad we turned out half normal. We have a really cool partnership with this comprehensive queer sex ed organization called Wise Bodies, and we're doing queering self-care tomorrow for your sexual, your reproductive bodies, and just self-care as a part of a comprehensive sex education. So that's our workshop tomorrow.
I love that.
And we're actually doing a drag workshop the week after that. So
wow, y'all have a lot
take
of
some
really cool
pictures,
things coming.
share the looks with you. It's called Drag from the Inside Out. So kind of like tapping into our inner self to, and maybe the person you can't feel, you feel you can't be 100% of the time, you can be in drag vibes. Is that what drag was like for you? I don't know.
Yes, definitely. Yes. My drag persona actually embraced a side of me that I didn't feel comfortable embracing, which is like my drag persona was hyper femme. And that was just kind of how I got comfortable in that part of me, the feminine side of me. And it really helped me. So I'm happy. That's a really cool workshop. Definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome. We also have a big announcement coming up. We just are putting out queer stuff all the time. And if you are here, you're probably queer too, or you're a big fan. So us, our workshops are free. So if you're a queer young person or an ally that loves the gays, that was me. And then I ended up just being gay myself. I was like, I feel so much. But come by. The link's in our bio. And Jess, thank you so much for your time. I just feel so connected to you in the short time I've known you, and excited to see where you go next and what you do. And I need to see this computer. We need to FaceTime.
Okay. Okay,
like,
absolutely.
Built a computer. Like, I'm just really I'm like, oh, so you bought a charger from the Apple store, right? And you're like, no, I built
no.
You'll
big. Just think a big desktop tower. Yeah.
Okay. All right, that concludes Women in STEM Gay Drag Technology Hour, aka Live. New guests every week. Thank you, Jess. Have a beautiful rest of your evening.
Thanks for having me.
And bye, everybody.
Goodbye.